So I registered and attended the HICPAC meeting today and planned to read a public comment, but they just made the public comment section like 20 minutes long, even though there was probably hundreds of contributions. So I'm going to read it to you instead. My name is Dr. Bernadette Birdbowen, and I'm a visiting assistant professor, critical media ecologist, and content creator, here speaking on behalf of myself. The following are choice passages from the second volume of my memoir out later this week as of 8/22/23, detailing my experiences of the last 4 years as a late-in-life realized autistic person. How does one describe the monotony of waking up for almost 1,400 days and during most of them existing inside merely 800 square feet? There is no way I can describe years of this monotony. Over the course of the last 4 years, personally and professionally, due to my research about socio-sexual ecologies in this age, I have lost almost all hope in the ability to trust most health organizations and members of the public to take basic preventative measures to protect my health. How is a lifelong sexual violence survivor and researcher of the sexually violent U.S. ecology supposed to trust any possible partner amidst this public refusing to take basic health precautions? Some may think I should have unsafely gone in public unmasked around countless people that have overtly accepted and act like disabled people's lives don't matter anymore, as if I don't know that autists, diagnosed or not, are high risk for COVID-19 due to our very long list of comorbidities. If not that, other minimizers may think that I should have just gone outside to enjoy the color-paved racist eyesores of late-stage capitalist suburbia. Most folks nowadays completely deny that a contagious cardiovascular disease continues to sicken, disable, and kill us because the CDC recommended a deadly new normal. It has been clear for years now that eugenics is coming from inside the CDC. Hence, their director claiming it was encouraging that only those with 4 or more comorbidities were dying of COVID then. It was inexcusable and not even true at that time. Unless you've lived this, I don't think you can ever really get it. I don't think you understand the fact that there is no end in sight for anyone that has experienced any level of disability or knows about the prolonged damage this virus does. The newest research goes to show that this is a cardiovascular disease that can cause heart and overarching harm for upwards of years after the initial sickness. To ignore that is absurd. This environment reveals that the U.S. government doesn't give a single fuck about disabled people. Since it began, this country has been ableist, and that bias bleeds into every institution. It's the same reason I wasn't introduced into disability scholarship throughout my entire PhD, because neoliberalism doesn't give a single fuck about disabilities. That's also why the vast majority of discriminations mentioned today basically never fucking deal with disabilities to this day. And why institutions across the country have the nerve to claim COVID-19 is over when it's not. This is also why people ignore disability as if this ongoing pandemic that threatens especially the most vulnerable people in our society, as if their lives don't fucking matter at all. As if all our lives don't matter, because the CDC director said our lives don't fucking matter. She said it's really encouraging that only we will die. And then most folks literally ate it the fuck up. They've chosen to eat inside of Chili's over all our lives. Now institutions shave away hybrid options despite 2020 showing they're possible, despite the many people groups who require reasonable accommodations to protect their lives, despite the countless people who have died, despite the countless new people who are now formally diagnosed with one or multiple disabilities, despite the countless people who to this day remain undiagnosed but still live and struggle every day disabled because this system has failed them, because this system is insufficient at best and dangerous at worst for most to get diagnoses. The CDC's severely irresponsible messaging has made safety at work a thing of the pre-COVID-19 past, for most people still forced into in-person work, and for groups who are already the most systematically discriminated against inside and outside of national workforces. Regardless of whatever intention they've claimed to have, their impact has catalyzed eugenics logics and COVID as an environmental racism and injustice issue. They have exacerbated any and all loneliness crises, sexual violences, and nothing short of social death of those who are disenfranchised, because all those violences are made worse and compounded with transmission of this virus. The only other choice available for those who are most historically and intentionally targeted by most any and all organizations in this country is to deny C19 too, only to then disproportionately become sick, disabled, and die from this virus. For this reason, countless people are currently choosing in-person social death as one feasible alternative for the ongoing risk of physical harm. This is not a lifestyle anyone should ever be forced to live. It is nothing short of a new form of home-based solitary confinement for the crime of choosing to protect ourselves in an era where the CDC decided our lives are expendable to profit. Need I remind everyone Lack of physical touch has numerous harms to our mental and physical health, and yet the CDC's rampant health disinformation and miseducation of the public has ensured our most vulnerable experience this. This is the sentence that many continue to serve for simply existing in bodies deemed expendable. Yet this is the result of the CDC's messaging that has misled the public to believe COVID-19 is not an ongoing danger to their body minds. Again, despite the fact that C19 has been found to completely destabilize people's ability to work in a country that doesn't pay anyone actually livable disability benefits, since that apparently isn't a priority in comparison to the military budget. At this point, it should be blatantly clear that the CDC has repeatedly made deeply inhumane and irresponsible choices. We cannot accept their deadly message about this cardiovascular disease. I can't imagine why they didn't accept me for public comment.